Hello, my name is Ireland Doan, and my topic is on the impact of rising temperatures on marine biodiversity hotspots. So, a little overview of my topic, and history. There's human influence on the climate. Human influence is not only just on the climate, but in turn all of the planet. So, since the Industrial Revolution, human activities have steadily increased. With these human activities increasing, it also increases our greenhouse gas emissions, and that also in turn warms our planet's atmospheres and oceans. Our marine ecosystems, especially coral reefs and kelp forests, are particularly vulnerable to these rising temperatures. And as you can see in the graph right here, you can see the human drivers, which is like um, what humans do to increase these human activities that increase these gas emissions or the warming of our planet's oceans and atmospheres. These are big activities that increase over time and warm our planet's atmospheres, which in turn creates a negative impact on ecosystems and animals' life cycles, and even we can even start seeing it in our own life as well, everyday life as well as humans. So a question you may have is, what is a marine heat wave? So a marine heat wave is a prolonged period of abnormally warm sea temperatures. These have become more frequent and intense over the years of the Industrial Revolution and just more human activity. These heat waves can cause mass mortality events in sensitive marine life and change ocean chemistry. And in the graph below, you can also see how the temperatures over the years have increased, and this just shows how marine heat waves has also increased in our oceans. Now, with all this said, there also can be short-term impacts that can happen with these human impacts, such as coral bleaching and mass deaths of these corals and algae blooms. In short term, these extreme heat events can bleach corals and kill marine organisms. A 2003 Mediterranean heat wave led to widespread coral and sponge die-offs. And you can see that in the picture down below. It shows the corals, they're white, and that's not normal for corals. That just means that they're bleached, which also means that they're dead and they serve not a purpose. And warmer waters also promote harmful algae blooms. It's a massive toxic bloom in 2005 disrupted fisheries and killed marine mammals. And you can see in the picture down below also that massive red color, that is an algae bloom, and that is extremely toxic to animals, to humans, and it can kill marine mammals and humans, and it just is, they're both negative impacts on the environment. Now, on the opposite side, there's also long-term impacts of these human activities that has on the planet and the ocean. So some of these long-term impacts are habitat shifts and species loss, and then there's also future projections on what that looks like for the ocean. So long-term warming is forcing species to migrate or face extinction. They either have to migrate or they face extinction in their populations. So marine heat waves threaten biodiversity and ecosystems services like tourism and fisheries. And then if we don't limit emissions, models predict dramatic biodiversity loss. The Paris Agreement offers hope, keeping warming below 2 degrees Celsius could reduce impacts significantly. So this just means that in long term, if we keep up these activities that humans are doing, since all these animals in the ocean rely on their ecosystem to be optimal and working in the right direction. If it's not, these marine heat waves could threaten the biodiversity and ecosystems. So then that also impacts human work, such as tourism and fisheries. And then that doesn't bring in a good income. And then stuff happens with the city in turn. And if we don't limit these emissions, then biodiversity can be lost, and that's just really negative for the ocean, and isn't a good thing that can turn up from these long-term impacts of human activities. The next question is, what can be done? So there are a couple of mitigation and conservation efforts that can be done to maybe not reverse these human activities and impacts, but to slow down and try to set back these harmful and negative impacts. We can protect marine biodiversity by expanding marine reserves, cutting carbon emissions, and improving our forecasting systems. There are global and local actions that we can take and take steps towards. Organizations like the IUCN and the NOAA provide ways for individuals and communities to help, whether by supporting policies or protecting reefs locally. So, in conclusion, the oceans are resilient, but only if we act now. By understanding the science and supporting conservation and spreading awareness, we can protect marine biodiversity for future generations. Here are my references, and thank you for listening.